Good morning, Mr. Lottimore. Um, uh, Welcome to the interview today. Apologies, I think I pronounced your name wrong. It's Mr. Lottimore.
Yes.
Apologies. Right, so welcome to today's interviews, and we're talking about blood donation. I thought I'll start by asking you to tell us your blood donation story.
Yes. So my wife actually was participating with her company, and so we're talking about 2013 about, and she decided to take me along with her. I think I went for the drive, and we went into the blood donor center, and I decided to sign up, and that was the first time I had made a donation, and the process was interesting at first, and then because we're a family that does community service, and I felt that it was a wonderful idea to continue to give. Became a registered donor, and the following year I started a blood drive with reaching out to my friends and family to encourage them to also donate. And so that's been going on. We took a break last year during COVID, but this was our sixth year of encouraging our friends and family to participate in the blood donor process.
Wow, that's fantastic. 6 years of donating blood and helping the community. That's really, really enviable and fantastic. So, what's the motivation?
Well, like I said,
Why?
we give to the community in different ways. Whether it's if we travel, my friends and I, we'd like to donate at a food bank. If we have a new city, we try to go to. Like I said, my mom and my grandparents did a lot in our community. My father, whether it's working with children and youth, and so it's sort of innate in our family to give. And
Mm,
with my wife's encouragement, because she's a unique ethnic background. She is a blood donor as well as bone marrow, and we're also donors as far as organ donation. So
oh,
we believe, that the ability to help someone, you don't necessarily need to see the face, but these the blood donation and the other methods, you know that the gift that you're given literally can save someone's life. So that is always an encouraging way to give, and I guess a true sense of altruism.
mm. That's quite altruistic because there's nothing in what you said that suggests personal benefits to this apart from the satisfaction of knowing that you're giving. And most people will give money, but you're going to give of yourself, literally, which is your blood. That's really quite altruistic, and so it's one thing to do it by yourself, but you're also motivated um, friends and colleagues to a mini blood drive. How did that process go, and how have you been able to get that
Well,
off the ground?
so between different organizations you participate in, actually they did one in college, right? They're always coming around to get the college kids and get you involved in something, and usually you get a free water bottle or a little gift bag of some sort. But so that's the participating in those type of events before encouraged me to think so a little bit outside the box. And so what I tend to do is go to one of the local stores and grab snacks because I know you need a nice little goodie after the donation, and apparently they're quite the hit. And
Mm.
for me, they're having a good circle of friends that also like to contribute to the community. It was easy to go and ask, "Hey, were you willing to do this?" And come to find out, there are some of my friends and colleagues that were already donors, and some that hadn't donated in a while. So it was almost like a reminder. And then we have gotten a few new people. This year is actually was my 50th birthday, and a group of my classmates from high school. We have a group, and I reached out to some of them, and I think we got one or two from there. So it's one of the things I think not everyone knows the benefit of it, the ease of it, as well as the ability to make a difference. Because I think a lot of people are fearful of needles and I'm gotta go to the hospital. The hospital at times still has that little bit of fear when you go there. But when you realize the benefit to someone in your community, and
Mm,
for me, it's always about learning. So learning about sickle cell anemia and the fact that we are both Margaret and I, my wife Margaret Reeves Lottimore, are matches for someone in the community who has these challenges of dealing with sickle cell. When I was in school in the States, the discussion around sickle cell is more prevalent. And I didn't realize it had an impact here in Bermuda. So being able to help someone and encourage other people to donate in order to give Bermudians a chance at a better way of life is kind of the motivation as well to get other people involved.
wow. Thank you. I mean, from what I can pick from what you just said, is basically leverage your social networks,
Mhm.
friends, classmates, provide some form of incentive. It doesn't have to be anything big, but your snacks are obviously a hit. And then the third thing I picked from what you said is about humanize this. There's a face, there's a beneficiary at the end of this blood donation that you're doing, and that is a great motivator. I think that's fantastic. Um, we can distill it down to that and distill the essence and probably bottle it and sell it.
Yes. Yes, definitely. You're always gonna be
Absolutely.
we're gonna have a little labeling and that's why we got CITV. They can brand it for us.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's really fantastic to hear about this, and I was just more interested in if we wanted to motivate somebody else to do exactly what you've done, to leverage their community, their social network, and provide incentive and think about the benefit of what they're doing. What sort of advice would you give to another donor, Lottimore, to start what you've done?
Well, I mean, this is a opportunity where people can hear the experience that I've had and how easy it was. And sometimes we are fearful of how large an undertaking something may be. And sometimes it really is just something simple, just sort of picking up and going and sharing of information. I really, until my wife went. So that would meant I was in my early 40s before I really started. And I was also had moved back home more recently. And so getting people involved earlier. So like I said, they reached out to us as college kids. I think it
Mm.
was the Red Cross and another agency had partnered to come to our college. So you're getting to 20 something year olds. And that's a way to encourage youth. And once you get that sort of groundswell of new and progressive thinking, then you have people come up with even better ideas. I mean, I've watched like the growth of apps and Bermudians that are doing things like that. I mean, you can translate that somehow with the digital space that we're in now. But yeah, it's a matter of talking to people and, like you say, humanizing the experience of blood donation. And so hopefully my voice will be added to what the Blood Donor Center is offering to encourage more people.
It certainly would. It certainly would. And could you describe to us, for the benefit of those who've never donated blood, what's the process like?
So I went in cold. So and the staff at the Blood Donor Center, I think, are one of the key elements, and the nurses that they always have a smile. They're always a common influence. Because when you walk in there, the first thing you need to do is fill out a form, and it's basically checking your sort of current medical history as well as some of the past, so to make sure that you are eligible. Unfortunately, there are some people, depending on circumstances, where maybe where you've lived. We had to take a break for one instance when we traveled to a jurisdiction, so we had to take a year off. And so getting the knowledge of that your eligibility out of that first form. And then it's some simple checks of temperature, blood pressure, and then like a small finger prick to make sure that your blood levels are okay. And then you go and sit in a nice comfy recliner. Now this is the part where some people may be fearful. One of my good friends, he likes to get tattoos, and so I'm like, "How are you scared of needles, but you get tattoos?" And so he was able to, in between his tattoo regimen, come in and he found it a lot easier. So they hook you up to the collection method and the needle, and the nurses are talking you through the process, and basically they're holding your hand. And I had the blessing of going with my wife, so she was sitting in the next seat, so I had someone to talk to and to sort of ease the fear. So if anyone needs someone to hold a hand, every April around my birthday, I could you can come to my blood drive and I'll hold your hand during the process.
Mm.
And then the best part, you get to have a nice snack afterwards, and they have the TV on so you can sort of take your mind away. It's only about 30 minutes from start to finish, and then you're walking out and being a part of your day. I'm also blessed with a company that allows me to go because when the person in need calls, sometimes I'll be working, and my company is very uh, uh, cognizant of that. I'm a donor, and so they allow me to step out. But yeah, it's a real easy process, and once you become familiar with it, I think that alleviates a lot of the fear.
Mm, Oh, thank you. That's really, really helpful because I was going to ask you about you talked about going with someone to help and holding your hand if you are worried about needles. I was any other tips for people who may be hesitant because they're afraid of needles?
Mm. Well, for me, well, you just don't look, and like the nurses will cover it over for you and do different things. But I think understanding what's happening, and that little bit of fear, that little prick, and then you realize that gift that you're giving, that feeling of giving and blessing someone who may be in sometimes critical condition with the gift of life. I think that helps overcome the fear, right? So you have a positive emotion tied to the experience rather than the fear of what may have happened previously with the needles and whatnot. So I'm a bit of a positive thinker,
Mm,
so might be a little bit, but having the nurses there, speaking to them, getting familiar with what's going to happen before you go, speaking to those of us that are donors. I'm relatively young because they have a plaque there. It shows all the donors that have been that at this point given it for generations. It seems like so. There's a lot of people involved in blood donation that
mm.
could, you become part of a family, and especially the nurses, because when the nurses recognize your name when you're calling, that also brings a little bit of joy and makes it a little easier.
Mm, Yeah, that's fantastic. So go with someone, think about um, the good you're doing. Um, Minor coping mechanisms like don't look at the needle,
Yes.
and get your mind on something better
Mm-hmm.
during the process. Fantastic tips, fantastic tips. Okay, so this is what would you say to someone who's never really considered donating blood?
Um, this is a quick and easy way to make a large impact. Um, you know, now that we're called specifically for people with sickle cell, you know that there's someone in need, and understanding that that's your gift. There are a lot of times we worry about the time commitments, the uh, the work involved with doing charitable work, and this is one of those things where you give the blood and you know it's going to someone directly.
Mm,
I know there's always, because I have my degrees in social work, understanding that sometimes the bureaucracy of a charity can sometimes absorb uh, the goodwill. But in this case, it's a direct, and the positive thing for me is you don't have to know who you're helping, but you know you're helping someone.
Mm.
It's not like a name and a hat rattle for a Christmas gift or anything like that. So for those people who are looking to donate, uh, they'll go into Blood Donor Center website. You can even do your own research, and because I understand I give the whole blood, but there's other uh, a breakdown of the blood to give out the platelets and things like that, depending on what is in need at the time.
Mm.
And a key thing is I learned what my blood type was. I hadn't, you get it when you're younger and then you forget about it. So now when they make the call, I'm like, hey, I know what blood type I am. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
and that's also helpful. But yeah, it's for people that are new, just think you are giving to someone directly. It's almost like a handshake, and you're
Mm.
just giving a little bit of blood directly to someone.
Thank you very much, Mr. Donald. This is absolutely fantastic, and it's something that I'm sure a lot of people will learn from. So I'm going to ask you to complete a sentence now. How would you complete the sentence? Blood donation is?
It's a joy, it's a pleasure, and it's the gift of life.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better, Mr. Lottimore. Excellent. With any final words for our viewers today?
Just encouraging people to give. You never know who you're going to help. It could be your neighbor, it could be your friends or family. And Bermuda, we're unique, and we're a kind and generous people, and this is an opportunity to express that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Lottimore, today. Any final words for anybody?
Yes, thank you very much. And I see you on the television doing your good work. So I see you. I'm really taking a busy time away from all the other issues that you're challenged with here on the island. So thank you very much for all the work that you do.
Oh, you're very kind. This is also extremely important work. So it's no brainer. I'm very happy to do this.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.